Hello everyone, my name is Marina and welcome to the series of pre-workshop webinars. This one is devoted to teaching writing. Okay, so let's have a look at the agenda of this webinar. Today we are going to discuss what we mean by writing. We are going to speak about the activities which can be related to writing for learning purposes and writing for writing, which is the most challenging part for our students. And last but not least, we're going to discuss the ways to teach writing for writing. So what is writing exactly? That is a productive skill, obviously, and that is a process of using different symbols. It depends on the piece of writing, on the type of writing we have. It can be letters of the alphabet, punctuation, spaces, but all those things serve one aim, one purpose, that is to communicate thoughts and ideas in a readable form. So while writing something, we do bear in mind the 5 elements of paramount importance. Who the writer is, what we are going to write, why we need to write that piece of writing, the audience, like who is going to read that stuff, and the medium. So what symbols, what signs should I or should a student choose to make that piece of writing readable for the target audience, first of all. Of course, we have different activities where students are to show their writing skills. But actually, there are different types or levels of writing. And we all start with the mechanics of writing. So students should know how to write letters correctly, how to use different punctuation marks as well. So that is about the mechanics of writing. Then the next level is connected with grammar and vocabulary. That is also really important because if we don't know the words, how can we have something to say in a written form or in an oral form? If we don't know grammar, how can we actually make those ideas clear for the target audience again? So these are also really important. But what is even more important, the higher level of writing are those ones, or levels of writing are those ones which are connected with the structure of the piece of writing we are or the student is going to write, and cohesion and coherence. So how the ideas are connected between each other, if everything is to the point, if there is no redundant information. So it's really tricky for a student to understand and to speak about if there isn't enough practice on that stuff. So levels of writing are of high importance. Now let's have a look at the two types of activities, and they are already differentiated. Yeah, you can see that the left one is the one that belongs to writing for learning skills. And this example here is about the activity. The task here is about filling in the blanks, filling the gaps. Obviously, the student will use the knowledge of how to write or how to type, which letters to choose on the keyboard. Obviously, the student will show the knowledge of grammar and vocabulary that it's necessary for this activity. But is it writing? Is it really writing? What we mean by that when we ask our students to write an essay or write some paragraphs on the topic? Obviously not. So in this case, we are speaking about writing as a tool, not as the goal that the student has. As for the second example, second task here, it is an example of the activity related to writing for writing task. And here actually, a teacher and the student are to speak about the topic, the the structure of the essay. Yeah, what is the essay actually? What is the method of essay organization? How to introduce the paragraphs correctly? So those are the things which are of higher levels, of writing, and that's why that makes this type of activity a writing for writing task. So now let's practice a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately we have a webinar and I cannot see you, but you all can take a pause, in the recording and actually think about the types of activities which you have on your screen. So if they are writing for learning or writing for writing tasks. Just a few seconds, make a pause. Okay. Obviously, if we ask a student to look at the pictures and make up some sentences based on those pictures with some structure, as in this case to be going to, that is writing for learning type of task, as we want our student to practice that grammar structure more. It's not about the student's opinion, it's not about the student's, I don't know, view on some things which are happening in the world. They are just grammar based type of activities. Second one, copy the sentences. Well, obviously that is writing for learning type of task. Again, it's a type of a controlled practice when we want to see that the student is able to differentiate the letters in the words and is able to copy the sentences correctly. And the gaps, again, it is about the level of writing which is connected, or which is about the mechanics of writing and the knowledge of grammar and vocabulary, but not higher than that. Write a letter to your younger self. That is something we call a creative type of task, and that is something which can be really challenging for some of our students who are not that creative, they claim. So that is already about some higher levels of writing, because what we see here is that a student should write some definite piece of writing, and that is a letter. That means the student should know the structure. The student should follow the requirements of a letter writing. The ideas should be logically connected with each other, and that is how we can speak about cohesion and coherence. And the last one, in 3 minutes, write a few sentences on the topic. On the one hand, it is something on the topic, and the topic is given to the student. But on the other hand, it is about expressing the student's opinion on the way the student can, actually the attitude maybe to this topic, and that's the type of activity, the type of task or target, why the purpose of writing, so why the student needs to do that. That kind of task makes this type of activity writing for writing task. Well, actually, if we think about the types of activities which we do have on the platform, which are somehow connected with writing, usually those are the activities which are included if we are talking about the general course, for instance. They are the activities which are not discussed during the lesson. So that's usually 1 page of a homework assignment. And students don't like those types of tasks, to be honest. And that can be easily explained. Just think for a moment. What was the last thing you wrote, and why did you write those things? Now, being a teacher, we do write some plans, lesson plans, or some reports, or something else. Are those really essays that we have on the platform, for example? Are those, if you were asked now to write an essay, would you be able to do that? Are you sure that you have that knowledge of higher level about the structure, about coherence and cohesion, yeah, that is implied by that piece of writing? Well, I guess that would be kind of problematic, because usually we do write some shopping lists, phone numbers, text messages, yeah. Well, if we belong to the business world, yeah, it can be about presentations, or it can be about, if it's about some science, yeah, it can be articles, reports, CV, yeah, that is something that people really need to write from time to time, but they're not actually essays on a regular, yeah, on a daily basis. And when we are talking about the purpose of writing according to the functional categories, there are absolutely different types of them, and what exactly we need from our student can be kind of a disaster for a student, because the student will have no idea how to do that. So have a look at take a look at the functional categories that a piece of writing can have or can represent. It can be describing, it can be arguing, it can be persuading or complaining, comparing and contrasting. So many different things. And usually our students are asked to deal with those pieces of writing on their own, as there is only one page of homework assignment devoted to that kind of task, that kind of activity. So actually that is the moment that we need to bear in mind when answering the question why our students exclude the writing tasks from their homework assignment. Yeah, of course, yeah, there might be some students who really do not have time for that, and writing is really time consuming. For some of the students, it's just really not their goal. So writing, they are not to write something, yeah. So in this case, of course, we can practice some writing for learning types of tasks, but not those essays, yeah, which are given as homework assignment. And have a look. There are people, there are students, and the majority of them, I should say, who just don't know how to do that. So they would be happy, yeah. They really want to maybe do some creative piece of writing, but they just don't know how to express, yeah, their ideas, or how to express their creativity in a right way, in a proper way. Imagine that a student whose goal is connected with academic writing has that one page of homework assignment which is about writing an argument essay, or to give the investigative project report. So that's something which can be really difficult to even to understand, yeah, the task, and even more difficult to realize how to do that correctly. That's why, of course, we need to speak about the personalized lessons designed by a teacher for a student, which are aimed at teaching a student to write good pieces of writing depending on their goals that they have. And here's the moment when we are to speak about the process writing approach. It can be kind of complicated, yeah, if you take a look at the picture, but we are going to speak about that in more details, what we mean by process writing approach and what stages it includes. So first of all, we need to teach a student or our students to plan their writing. It is impossible to have a good piece of writing without planning it in advance. So, and that is what we call a pre-writing stage. Now, here, different activities can be used, starting from the brainstorm. The student can write some ideas, make a list of them, or you can discuss some of the questions, anything. And it's really good to use different visual visual forms of expressing those ideas or of fixing those ideas. So it can be mind maps, or it can be some visual diagrams, or it can be different tables. Again, it depends on the student. It depends on their way of perception, the information, which is easier for that particular student to use. And that's actually that is what planning is about. Personally, my students do love different mind maps. The second one, and the second stage of of teaching writing, if we use that process writing approach, is drafting. Drafting is really important, and that is the moment when a student is to focus on fluency of writing. It's not about accuracy at all. And while drafting, of course, a student should remember what kind of writing he or she has, and the target audience who's going to read those things. And again, it's not about accuracy, it is about fluency. So what we see next is revising. And here is the moment when we are talking about checking for coherence. That is the moment when various checklists can be used. That is when a student needs to take a look at the overall content, organization of ideas, checking whether writing communication is there, if everything is expressed effectively and to the intended audience again, and it is about structure. So you see the questions that can be included into the checklist, and I guess they are of much help really, and you can use them with your students as well. What we have next is editing, proofreading. It's kind of the last big step or stage of the process writing approach. And that is the moment when we pay attention to the choice of words, the collocation, the style is there. It's about grammar, and it is about punctuation, the mechanics of if punctuation, spelling, again, all that stuff there. And editing and proofreading is also really useful to make a piece of writing even better, to improve it, even if there are no mistakes. As Scott Thornberry says, there is always a chance to make a piece of writing even better, to improve it. So editing and proofreading is really useful there and important. Those were the steps or the stages of teaching writing according to the process writing approach. But of course, when we use those things, we use them within a lesson. And it is really important to structurize the lesson according to some stages, according to things which are to be practiced. And all the lessons, it doesn't matter what we are going to teach our students, that very moment, that very lesson, all of them start with the leading part. Warm up, ice breaking, it all depends, whenever you wish. So it is a great idea to use the activities during that leading part, the activities which are somehow connected with the piece of writing you're going to ask your student to write as a homework activity, or maybe you will do that like slowly during the lesson. So like in this case, the student is asked to use the statements which are relevant to his or her writing experience. That is the moment. It's a kind of a needs analysis in this perspective, because you will be able to see what the student is good at or not that good, what needs more practice and improvement. So next stage of the lesson, those are pre-writing stages and the activities. Again, there can be different ones and they are connected with planning. But what we see here, we focus on the model and the language which is needed for the writing task and the format. And this particular activity is not just matching type of task which among those tasks which are considered to be kind of childish by our students, but in this very task we do not only match the words with the pictures, but they actually revise the structure of the essay, and that's what makes this kind of task really valuable in this situation. So that is really important to use such types of activities. So then what we have is like writing stages. So, and that is actually all about writing. That is all about drafting, editing, those things that we have already discussed as the steps or stages of process writing approach. And again, those 5 elements of paramount importance are to be taken into consideration as well. Finally, post-writing discussion. That is actually a moment not really for a student, but it's even more important. It is important. It is important for both a student and a teacher, because that is when not only a student proofreads the piece of writing and actually edits the information there, but that is the moment when we are talking about the assessment, because teachers need to assess the paper properly, and to do that, teachers do need to know the structure, do need to know the criteria of the assessment, follow the idea. So it's really not only about grammar and vocabulary which are used in this piece of writing. It is more than that. Remembering all those levels of writing, starting with mechanics, if all the words are written correctly, the spelling is okay, and grammar, vocabulary, of course, the structure, and coherence and cohesion. So everything is being considered, is to be taken into consideration, and everything is to be thoroughly studied by a teacher before teaching a student. As for the error correction, if we're talking about the correcting the ways to correct some inaccuracies within the writing paper, there are different ways of correcting the things, and actually they all have some additional goal. Again, food for thought for the students. It's not just correcting and giving the correct answer. It's not. It's something where the student can really improve him or herself. Sorry. And it's something that a student can improve. For example, you can always use direct correction. It will not take much time for the student to take a look and see what the correct answer is, but it is not, of course, the best idea. We can use error location by underlining the word which is incorrectly used, and that's how the student will need to think of the correct way of using that particular word. It can be error code using the letters like VT for the verb tense, or just symbols, but of course in this case the student should be aware of those symbols, what they mean. It can be verbal cue, just give a word sentence, yeah, to make it clear. And of course, we can annotate the paper. We can leave some comments, yeah, to comment the using several sentences, and where you will focus your students' attention on the things that you want them to pay attention to. So those are the things. And as for the summary on teaching writing, so what we teachers, should bear in our minds are the following things. So if we want our students to write something, which is really writing for writing kind of activity, it should be something that relates to students' life, to students' goals, and to students' interests. So some real life tasks. When we teach, so obviously we need to teach a student to write properly. So, and that teaching process should include pre-writing, in-writing, and post-writing activities. The process approach steps are to be there as well, and they are planning, drafting, revising, and editing. Working with a model is the type of activity, the type of task, which again will make it clear for the student how to do this type of activity in the right way. We need to focus on the language, the style, the register, and etc., as well as the format of the model. What kind of writing that is? Is that some report, or maybe it is a business email, or maybe it is a personal letter, yeah, or an essay. So we need to focus on that too. And of course, it will be just nice if you use different ways of error correction, because that's where the student can improve their second level of writing, which is about vocabulary and grammar, and also other levels as well. So I guess that is all about the webinar. And to attend the workshop on the same topic, you will have the pre-workshop test. So you will get the presentation and the video, and you will be able to follow the link, and you will need to do the pre-workshop test to check yourself and get prepared for the practical workshop. So thank you for watching, and see you at the workshop. Bye bye.